Okay, so this is take 2 because last time I didn't have the microphone on. So I was just going. And you didn't hear a word I was saying. So anyway, hello there, school dude Clem here, as some of you think I say. And today I'm going to be doing a little video about Linux. Well, I say little video, you know me. I tend to waffle on and do long-winded explanations, so this is probably going to be like 10,000 million hours, but now when it comes to Linux, I have a sort of love-hate relationship with it because on the one hand, there's a lot of things that I love about Linux, and on the other hand, there's a lot of problems, some that I can fix and some that remain. But before we go into that, I just want to clear up a little bit of confusion about what version of Windows I'm using here. So, if you look at this, you might be thinking, lol, bro's still using Windows 98, lol. Well, actually no, let's have a look at what I've really got here. So if we go into settings, now this is looking a little bit more modern. Let's go to system and down to about. Here it is, Windows 10 Enterprise LTSC. Now you might be wondering why my Windows 10 looks like this. Well, it's because I'm running customization software that makes it look old, and you might be asking, Clem, why did you do this? Well, the thing is, this is what Windows looked like when I was growing up, so you know, this is nostalgic for me. And I'm really not a big fan of the ugly, flat, modern look. Now one thing I like to do is listen to chiptunes, either while I'm working or just to kick back and listen to them, and this is something that I can now do on Linux too. And when I say chiptunes, I'm not talking about some MIDI file playing in GXSCC or anything like that, because this is not chip music, okay? This is not chip music. This is a MIDI file playing in a player that makes it sound 8-bit. When I say chiptunes, I'm talking about the real deal. I'm talking about AY. I'm talking about SID. I'm talking about Nintendo NES and so many others. That's what I mean by chiptunes. These are all the players I use to play chiptunes. So, we've got AY Emule here, which plays Amstrad CPC and Atari ST and of course ZX Spectrum with Beeper and AY. I'm just going to say a little bit. 8-bit forever! Got NSF Play, which plays NES music. I'm just gonna say a little thing. 8-bit forever! Yeah. Got SID Play, which plays Commodore 64 music. Now this one here is called XM Play, and it can play just about anything provided it's got the right plugins. And I've loaded in some Game Boy music. And of course there's the SAP player, which plays Atari 8-bit pokey music. So let's just take a little quick look through the chiptunes I've got here. So I've got Adlib, I've got AY, I've got Atari somewhere. Where is it? Okay, there it is. And of course, I've got the high voltage SID collection. But the nice thing here on Windows is, let's say I want to listen to an AY file. I can just click on it, and it brings up the appropriate player app and starts playing, as you can hear. Let's say I want to listen to some Nintendo NES music. Well, I can just double click on the file. It brings up the player and starts playing. Come on, this isn't the song we want to hear. There we go. Jeez, calm down, Tim. It's just Pictionary. So these chiptune players really are the best of the bunch, and they've got so much controls and options. They're just perfect for the job, but like I said, there's no Linux version of them. So what I have to do is try to find alternatives or find ways to get them running on Linux. And the same can be said for most of my other software as well. And it isn't as if I haven't looked for alternatives. I mean, really, I just haven't really found anything. I mean, for instance here, I found a SID player which is in this really weird file format, RPM. I've never come across an RPM file before. Apparently it's some kind of installable archive or something. But yeah, I tried to install it on Linux, and as you can see here, I just got in a total mess. I don't know what I'm doing. Yep, this is just about how everything goes when I use the terminal. I look up how to do something, gives me a bunch of commands to type in the terminal, I type it in, and I get errors. Also, it doesn't help being somewhat dyslexic like I am. Even when I copy and paste the text from a website that tells you how to do it, sometimes even that doesn't work. Just showing everything as text with no icons and no graphics and nothing I can click on with the mouse. It's ridiculous. I mean, come on, what is this? 1985? Have they never heard of a GUI? I might just as well be using DOS. The terminal is one of the biggest things I hate about Linux. Actually, to be fair, it's the only thing that I truly hate about Linux. It's not just a minor inconvenience. It's something that's going to make me completely bald before too long. I need a visual representation of what's happening. I mean, take the software center for instance. You can see what you're doing. It's easy to use. Just a click here, a click there, done. No typing and no looking up things that you don't even understand at all. Why couldn't the rest of Linux be like this? Now, you might have seen some other Linux ISOs here, and these are also ones I want to try out, but that's going to be for another day. But right now, I have Linux Mint installed on an external hard drive, so over to that. Alright, so here we are on the Linux desktop, and as you can see, I've got all my chip players installed along with a few other things, and they all work. Apart from SID Play 3 here, which gives very, like, choppy audio. If I just load that up, you'll see what I mean. So yeah, if I play a SID file in this, you can... Well, you can hear that for yourself. However, I do have an older version of SID Play here, and that works just fine. So I'll play that same SID in this one. Yeah, this one will play most of the SIDs, but the ones that have like samples in them it won't play. But I can use my XM Play with the SID plugin for that, so that's no big deal. I've also got my core scope here for rendering wave multi-channel oscilloscope views of songs and things. Again, that's another Windows app that I've managed to run on Linux. Okay, so we're going to go into the minor inconveniences now. So, let's say I want to play one of my chiptunes, because I'm still staying on the subject of that. So, loading up a chiptune player and then dragging and dropping a file into it. Yeah, that works and all, but thing is, on Windows, right, I could just double click on a file, say I could double click on this, let's say, and that would bring up the player, and then that would play the file. Thing is, as this is on Linux, and as those are Wine apps, I don't know if that's even possible, because if I double click on this, well, it thinks it's something else, but as you can see, it doesn't know what to do with it. Now, I thought what I could do, let's go to choose a program here, and let's go to browse. Let's see. Now I thought, all I had to do was just click on one of these things, you know, the appropriate one, which in this case is this. But that don't work. As you can see, doesn't know what to do with it. I could try doing that again, but it's not going to work. So, I don't know if that even is possible. I'm not going to screw around too much with that, but if that is possible, there is a way to do that, then I'd really like to know. So yeah, that's just a minor inconvenience. I mean, if I have to like open the player up and then open the files and then drag and drop the files into it, I can live with that. But suppose it doesn't matter though. Most people don't like good music. All they want to hear is their mumble rap and their electronic party music. Stuff that just goes and I mean, what kind of music is that? That's literally what today's music sounds like. Oh wow, don't stop playing that awesome music, it was cool. Oh no, there's a random generic teenager in here. What are you doing in here? You got sick beatboxing skills, mate. Do that again. No. You see, I am trying to make a difference in this world, whereas people like you are contributing nothing. What you say, mate? I'm not going through all that again. Now get out of here. Anyway, like I was saying, now it's on to another minor inconvenience, and that's something that I'm having with Audacity. It's a bit more of an inconvenience actually, but so here we are in the Linux version of Audacity, and I've got some of my projects up here that are on my Windows drive, and if I load one of these, I'm just going to load this one. At first you might think it's alright if I play this. You can hear it playing and everything. I don't know if you could hear me over that, but take a closer look at this. Do you notice something? Yeah. All of the channels are left. And when I saved this in Windows, they were all mono. So for some reason, the Linux version of Audacity loads all of these as left channels instead of mono channels, and I don't know why. There's no option to turn them back to mono. I cannot pan them, because if I pan them, that would just be like another volume control, because they're only coming out of the left speaker. The only solution I found is if I copy one of the channels, okay, then I delete that channel, and now I make a new channel, or new track, whatever. So make a new mono track, paste that into there. That is now a mono track, and I'm going to have to do that for all 7 other tracks as well, or however many tracks the file has. If I fix all the tracks and save it, it will be as it should be, and that will open in either Linux or Windows. But yeah, that's just another minor inconvenience. I mean, if I'm going to be using this on Linux from now on, it probably won't be a problem anyway. So yeah, there's that. So some Linux apps seem to have weird quirks that the Windows versions of those don't have, and some Linux apps, like this game I downloaded, they don't even work at all. If I try to run that, nothing happens. Now, I heard that putting these files from the bin folder, copying them into this folder should make them work, but it doesn't. If I try to run it from the bin file, Arena 32 doesn't work, Arena 64 doesn't work, and this MAT2 mono thing, that's just to extract some files, which I've done. It just doesn't do anything. Right click and go into the properties, the permissions. I've got this set to allow executing file as program, which I've done to all of these. They just don't work. I've installed Lutris here so I can play Windows games on Linux, and I've put a few games in there, none of which actually work. So if I try to play Ford Racing 2, for instance, if I try to run it on Linux, it doesn't even attempt to run it. The Windows version of Marble Arena 2, that's also... Okay, I don't know what that was, but yeah. So Marble Blast Ultra, let's see if that runs. Again, this is another game that runs fine on Windows 10, but when we'll try to run it on Linux, just give it a second. Okay, so it looks like it's going to work. And then it just closes itself. Now I managed to get Outrun 2006 to work, and Sonic and Sega All-Stars Racing, but we're going to talk about that in just a moment. Okay, so you'll have to excuse the state of the place. So let's run Outrun 2006. So I'm pressing enter to try to get the game started. And it's not doing anything. Yeah, for some reason my camera reverted to 24p, I don't know why, but yeah, you can see here. I don't even need a high frame rate to show you what it's doing. Okay, and now the title screen's disappeared. Oh, wait. It actually responded to my keyboard that time. Several minutes later. Oh, we're actually off for it. But look how choppy this is. It should not run like this. This frame rate is terrible. I mean, where did everything go? Okay, so let's see how well Sonic and Sega All-Stars Racing works. And I'm gonna tell you right away that it plays even worse than Outrun 2006. And again, this is another game that ran absolutely fine. You see that? It's not even able to play the title screen at its full speed. But yeah. And like I was saying, this is another game that ran just fine on the other Linux that I had. Which was also Linux Mint. Which was also Linux Mint Debian Edition. And then it just goes straight out. Here's another install of it that I did with Play on Linux. So, let's run that. Now, at first you may think this is working, because it's now playing the title screens at full speed, and but in order to get this game to work, I've had to turn all the settings down to their lowest.
Sonic and Sega All-Stars Racing!
I'll show you that I cannot even get into the first race. Okay, I'm just going to put my name in as because I really don't care. I really don't care. Let's just get into the game. You see that? It's running terribly. If we go to the config for Sonic and Sega All-Stars Racing, this is the graphics card it thinks I have. Which is not the graphics card I have. I've got something much better than that. Okay, I'm just having to re-record the voiceover for this part because I was just going, little realizing that I'd switched my microphone off so you couldn't hear a word I was saying. So some of you might think that I don't have the drivers installed. Well, if we go into the system settings, you can see that I do have the NVIDIA driver installed. I've tried uninstalling it and reinstalling it. I've tried doing it via the terminal. I've tried doing it via the software center. Same result every time. So I installed a few native Linux games. Well, 2 Linux games. And they work absolutely fine. So this is Super Tox Card. I'm not going to go through the whole game or anything, but just to show you that it is actually working. Okay, I'll be the GIMP guy. Yeah, that's working absolutely fine. Well, Tux Racer or whatever it was isn't the most graphically demanding game, so I thought I'd run something that is. So I've got this benchmark app thing here, which is a native Linux app. There's also a game with this, but I've played it, but I don't know what I'm supposed to be doing. Anyway, as you can see, this is running nice and smoothly, and if there was a problem with the graphics card drivers, this would be running like absolute crap, or maybe just not run at all, and as you can see, it's running just fine. I'm getting over 100 frames a second, so yeah, that shows the graphics card drivers are installed and it's all working. So I don't know why those Windows games were running like worse than they had any right to be. Like I said before, on a previous Linux installation, they ran just fine, but on here they're running like absolute ass. Help if I have the microphone turned on. So yeah, I think I'm gonna wrap it up here for now. So, until next time, goodbye.